This house has no foundation. No concrete. No basement. No ground contact at all. It's bolted directly into a living, breathing tree, 40 feet above the forest floor. And the strangest part? The tree is still growing. Still swaying in the wind. Still alive underneath the entire structure. So how do you build a permanent luxury home, on something that never stops moving? By the end of this video, you'll understand exactly why treehouses went from a childhood fantasy to one of the most requested builds of 2026, and why some architects say it's the smartest design decision of the decade. Welcome to Affordable Tiny Living. Before we climb up, hit subscribe. Because on this channel, we break down the world's most insane architectural builds, piece by piece, beam by beam. Now, let's go up into the canopy. This is a modern tiny tree house, and in 2026, demand for these builds has exploded, from backyard hideaways under $30,000, all the way up to elevated luxury suites that cost more than most ground-level mansions. Some are tucked into single oak trees in someone's backyard. Others are suspended between 4 or 5 trees at once, connected by walkways high above the ground. A few don't touch any tree trunk directly at all, engineered instead to float just above the forest canopy on slender steel legs. And here's what makes this different from almost any other home on Earth. The ground beneath it is irrelevant. The structure isn't fighting gravity in the usual way, it's hanging, balancing, and flexing with a living organism that has its own agenda. Architects didn't just design a small home here. They designed a relationship between architecture and nature that has to renegotiate itself every single year as the tree grows. Tree houses aren't new. Humans have been building in trees for thousands of years, for safety from predators, for flood protection, for defense. But for most of the last century, the tree house was demoted to a childhood toy. Plywood platforms. A ladder. Maybe a rope swing. So why is an entire generation of architects suddenly treating this idea as serious, high-end design? 3 things changed. First, remote work. When your job fits inside a laptop, your home doesn't need to be near an office, it can be in a forest. Second, the rise of experiential travel, where people pay a premium not just to stay somewhere beautiful, but to stay somewhere that feels physically impossible. Third, and this is the part most people miss, engineering finally caught up to the dream. New mounting systems now allow architects to attach serious structural weight to a living tree without slowly killing it. In other words, the idea never changed. The technology around it finally did. Before we go further, it's worth knowing that tree house doesn't mean one thing anymore. There are single tree builds, where the entire structure wraps around and mounts onto one mature trunk. There are multi-tree suspended builds, where the weight of the home is distributed across 3, 4, or even 5 separate trees, connected by elevated walkways. And there are canopy-adjacent builds, which don't touch any tree at all, instead using slim steel or timber columns to lift the home into the canopy, surrounded by trees without depending on them structurally. Each version solves the same problem in a completely different way. And that problem is the single biggest challenge in this entire category of architecture. From the outside, a modern tree house looks deceptively simple: timber walls, large glass openings, a structure that seems to just sit naturally in the branches. But nothing about it is simple. Every exterior wall has to be lightweight enough not to overload the tree, yet strong enough to survive wind loads at height, which are dramatically higher than wind loads at ground level. Most modern builds use a timber frame skin, cedar, larch, or thermally treated pine, chosen specifically because it's strong relative to its weight, and because it expands and contracts at a similar rate to the living wood supporting it. Glass is used aggressively, often wrapping entire walls, because the entire point of the design is to dissolve the boundary between the architecture and the forest around it. Symmetry, in the traditional sense, barely exists here. The shape of the house often has to bend around existing branches, irregular trunk angles, and natural growth patterns, meaning no 2 tree houses, even from the same architect, are ever identical. It's not a home being placed into nature. It's a home negotiating with it. And that negotiation becomes a lot more complicated once you look at how it's actually attached. Here's the engineering problem that makes this category so difficult: trees move, grow, and flex constantly. A normal home is built on a fixed foundation that, ideally, never shifts. A tree house is built on a foundation that grows wider every year, sways in every storm, and can move several inches in high wind without breaking. The solution most modern builders use is called a flexible mounting system: large steel bolts, known as tree attachment bolts, drilled into the healthiest part of the trunk, fitted with sliding brackets that allow the structure to move slightly as the tree sways, without transferring that stress directly into the walls of the house. These brackets are also designed with growth space built in, meaning as the tree trunk naturally expands over the years, the metal fittings can be adjusted outward instead of being slowly crushed or overtaken by new wood. Get this wrong, and you don't just get a wobbly house. You get a structure that's actively damaging, or being damaged by, a living organism it depends on. This is why most tree house architects work directly with arborists, not just structural engineers, before a single beam goes up. It's half architecture, half biology. And once that foundation problem is solved, the interior experience becomes something almost no traditional home can replicate. Step inside, and the first thing you notice is the angle of everything. Floors are rarely perfectly level by accident. They're engineered to feel level despite sitting on a structure that's subtly tilted, shifting, or wrapped around an off-center trunk. There are no long hallways here. Space is compressed, intentional, and built around movement, because every square foot has to be lifted, supported, and balanced at height. But the real shock comes when the tree itself becomes part of the room. In many of these builds, the actual trunk of the tree passes straight through the living space, sometimes through the center of the room, sometimes through a corner of the kitchen. Walls are built around it, not through it. The architecture simply makes room for something it can't control. This turns the open plan layout into something genuinely unique, a single living space where nature isn't a view outside the window, it's physically present inside the room with you. And once the sun moves, that open layout becomes something else entirely. Because most tree houses are elevated above surrounding rooftops and foliage, they receive a kind of light most ground-level homes never get, uninterrupted, filtered through moving leaves, constantly shifting in pattern and intensity. In the morning, light scatters through the canopy in fragments. By afternoon, it floods directly through oversized glass walls. By evening, the leaves outside catch the light before it even reaches the house, casting moving shadows across the walls. Architects don't fight this. They design around it, using minimal window framing and oversized glazing specifically to let this natural, ever-changing light become the home's primary design feature. No 2 days look the same inside this house. But lighting isn't the only thing height changes, the materials change too. Inside, you'll rarely find heavy stone or thick concrete, not because it wouldn't look good, but because it would be far too heavy for a structure suspended above the ground. Instead, architects lean into lightweight natural materials, thin engineered timber panels, woven natural fiber textiles, and tempered glass, all chosen specifically because they reduce structural load without sacrificing a high-end feel. Every material decision here is really a weight decision first, and an aesthetic decision second. That's a constraint most traditional luxury homes never have to consider. And that constraint shapes how every room connects to the next. Because the entire structure is elevated and often spread across multiple connected platforms, flow here doesn't just mean open doorways, it sometimes means actual elevated walkways between rooms, suspended several feet above the forest floor. Walking from the bedroom to the kitchen might mean crossing a narrow timber bridge, with nothing below you but trees. It's not just a stylistic choice. It's the literal architecture of treetop living. Every transition between spaces becomes an experience of its own. But we haven't even gotten to what this kind of build actually costs. Tree houses in 2026 cover an enormous price range, mostly because the variable isn't size, it's height, complexity, and how many trees are involved. A simple backyard tree house, built on a single tree with basic materials, can start as low as $15,000 to $30,000. A fully livable, off-grid capable single-tree home, with proper insulation, plumbing, and electricity, typically runs between $90,000 and $250,000. Multi-tree suspended luxury builds, the kind with connected platforms, large glass walls, and high-end interior finishes, regularly exceed $400,000 to $700,000. And the rare, fully custom canopy resorts, built by architecture firms specifically for luxury ecotourism, can cost well over $1.5 million per unit. The price isn't really about square footage. It's about how much complexity it takes to build something stable, beautiful, and safe, on a foundation that's alive. And that complexity comes with an unexpected upside. Here's the part that surprises most people: elevated tree houses are often significantly more sustainable than traditional ground-level construction. Because the structure never touches the ground directly, there's minimal excavation, minimal concrete pouring, and almost no disruption to the surrounding soil or root systems. The tree canopy itself acts as natural shade in summer, reducing cooling costs, while strategic glazing captures passive solar heat in winter. Many builds also incorporate rainwater harvesting systems built directly into the roof structure, since gravity naturally assists water collection at height. In other words, this isn't just an aesthetic choice dressed up as eco-friendly marketing. The elevated, low-impact design genuinely reduces the home's footprint, literally and environmentally. But sustainability isn't the headline feature people talk about. The engineering is. This is where it gets insane. Some tree houses include cantilevered decks that extend 10, even 15 feet beyond the supporting trunk, with zero visible columns underneath, held up entirely by internal steel framing hidden inside the timber shell. Others feature suspended rope and steel bridges connecting separate tree platforms, engineered to flex slightly with wind and movement instead of resisting it, because a rigid bridge between two independently swaying trees would eventually tear itself apart. Then there's the glass floor sections, panels built directly into the floor of select rooms, giving an uninterrupted view straight down to the forest floor, sometimes 30 or 40 feet below. This defies basic instinct. Standing on a transparent floor, suspended in a tree, should feel unstable. But when engineered correctly, with multiple layers of laminated safety glass, it becomes one of the most requested features in luxury treetop builds. Not everyone in the architecture world is convinced this is a good idea, though. The most advanced tree houses being built right now don't just sit in a tree. They move with it. Using a flexible joint system, sometimes called a telescoping mount, the entire structure is engineered to shift several inches in any direction as the tree sways in wind, without a single crack forming in the walls or floor above. Think about what that actually requires. An entire livable structure, with plumbing, glass walls, and finished interiors, sitting on a connection point that's never perfectly still, built to absorb constant, unpredictable movement, indefinitely, for decades, as the supporting tree continues to grow thicker every single year. That means architects designing these systems aren't just building a house. They're building a relationship between a fixed structure and a living, moving organism that will never stop changing shape underneath it. No rigid foundation to rely on. No fixed point of contact that stays the same from one year to the next. Every single calculation has to account for a support system that is, quite literally, alive. This isn't just architecture anymore. This is engineering that has to negotiate with biology, for the entire lifespan of the building. So who's actually driving this demand? The biggest group isn't who you'd expect. It's not just wealthy thrill-seekers chasing a novelty build. A large portion of buyers are remote workers and families looking for a second home that feels like an escape without requiring international travel, somewhere close enough to visit often, but different enough to feel like leaving reality entirely. The luxury hospitality industry is the second major driver, with eco-resorts increasingly building entire collections of elevated suites, because guests are willing to pay a significant premium for a room that feels physically extraordinary rather than just comfortable. And the third group is conservation-minded landowners, who specifically choose elevated, low-impact builds because they want to develop their land without disturbing the forest floor or root systems underneath. 3 very different motivations. One shared belief, that living above the ground changes how a space feels, not just how it looks. Which brings us to where this is all heading next. Right now, tree houses are still considered a niche, high-effort category of architecture. But the same was true of glass-walled homes 50 years ago, before manufacturing caught up to the design ambition. As flexible mounting systems become more standardized, and modular timber components become easier to manufacture off-site and assemble in the canopy, several architecture firms expect elevated living to expand well beyond luxury resorts and custom builds. Some are already experimenting with semi-prefabricated tree house kits, designed to dramatically reduce both cost and construction time while still protecting the health of the supporting trees. In other words, what looks like a rare architectural statement in 2026 might become a genuinely mainstream housing category within the next 10 years, especially as more buyers prioritize experience and sustainability over sheer square footage. Which leaves us with one final question. Is building a permanent home on a living, growing, moving tree a brilliant fusion of architecture and nature? Or is it an unstable idea, beautiful in theory, but ultimately dependent on something humans can never fully control? Drop your answer in the comments. Genius design, or one storm away from disaster? If you want more architectural breakdowns like this one, homes that push design, engineering, and nature further than anyone thought possible, make sure you're subscribed to Affordable Tiny Living. We post the world's most insane small space architecture every single week. That's it for this one. Thanks for watching with Affordable Tiny Living. I'll see you in the next video.